All right, welcome guys. I'm so glad that you're here. I've got Kasun here today. We're going to be
Hey.
talking about volatility and what that means. Okay, so what is volatility? We're going to get Kasun to share his thoughts, but just a quick example of what volatility is. So, volatility is when a market goes up high in price and when it goes down low in price, or if it goes up low in price and goes down low in price. So, say for example, you have something like those of you that hear Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin all in the news, and you hear, wow, the price just went so high, skyrocketed like 3 times its value. That's a high volatility, right? In comparison to the stock market. And if it goes down, down to minus like 50, 70%, that's what you call a very high volatility as well. But if you have something that maybe only moves up maybe 1% or maybe moves down 2%, it could just be like a bond, something like that. Well, a bond is only going to go up and down only in small increments. And so that's what volatility generally is. And when it comes to volatility and investments, what does that mean? How does that really affect the way that we think about investments? So I've got Kasun to share his thoughts and what he feels around volatility, his perspective on it.
Sure. So I guess with my experience, I like to buy stuff and sell at marketplace, or Kijiji for that matter. So I would buy I'll find an auction site that sell like let's say strollers for example. I buy it at a cheaper price and then I keep a profit out of it and then sell it. Which the cool thing about it is I really like that because I get to meet people as well. But um, like for volatility part of it, I guess if I keep strollers as a product, they have like a time that that product will have a go up. Like the demand for it, I guess I would say, it will go up. Especially in the summertime, the demand will go up. But if I try to sell the same stroller during the winter time, I wouldn't have the same demand for it. So I had to be mindful of when I would buy something like that, and I wouldn't buy that in a winter time, and I will keep it in my garage so I cannot sell it until the next summertime. So I kind of have to keep an eye on when I want to buy the things that I want to sell. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
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 Kinda.
So then when it comes to the items that you buy and you're looking at the pricing of those items, do you find that in Facebook Marketplace, you have like a larger fluctuation in prices? So like let's say strollers, for example.
Yeah.
Do you have like a large price fluctuation? So for example, if like a stroller was $50, would it be, like say you buy it for 50, could you sell it for like 60, and is it quite consistent? Or do you find like, you buy a stroller, it might be 60, it might be 30, and when you go to sell it, it might be like, 200, 100, and then you go to
Yeah.
sell it and it's like, maybe $10. Like, is there a lot of fluctuations, or do you find like it's fairly close? And how do you think about that? Like, if you see something in Facebook Marketplace where there is a large fluctuation, do you look at that as like a huge opportunity, or do you look at that as like, I want to avoid it?
So with regards to that, I remember last year summer or something. I was trying to sell this stroller from the winter time for the longest time, but there was an event in downtown Barrie. So I guess people were looking for that stroller at that time, which I didn't had any hits at all. But I think it was kind of like an event going on downtown, and all of a sudden I had like 10, 15 hits on it. So in essence, I should have keep an eye on like when would it be a high demand for it kind of thing, and then I can increase the price if I want to get a good profit out of it kind of thing. But in general, I think in summertime the prices would go up because people are go out a lot, and then people want it right now. So it's a good time to, if you want to, let's say if you buy something for $50 and you can sell it for $75 easily because of the demand.
Okay, so here's an interesting question then. So let's say you have two different markets. Like I'm just going to make up a market. Let's say you have guitars
Yep.
and you have pianos. Now, in the market of guitars, let's say, there's a lot more fluctuations in the prices.
Right.
And then let's say in the pianos, there's less fluctuation in the prices. Like they're very consistent. Again, this isn't the way that it is. I'm just trying to use an example.
Yeah.
So when you're going at something to look at it for getting into the marketplace, where do you think the better investment opportunity is for you? Would you rather go into like the guitar market, or would you rather go into the piano market, or both markets? When you know that the prices can fluctuate a lot over here, but then over here with the pianos, you know that it's going to be quite steady, but there's not as much fluctuation.
I see. Yeah. So I guess if I'm doing this I'm doing this actually for fun. So
Yeah.
if I'm doing it for actually if I want to make a living out of it kind of thing, I would stick with the pianos because it's steady. I can rely on
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
But if you want to risk it a little bit too, then once in a while I would do guitar 102. So then, I mean, it's just kind of so you're risking something. Either you will get it, you might not. But if you're willing to wait, and if you're not so worried about it,
Yeah.
I think I would do it once in a while. But
Yeah.
yeah. So,
And that's a really good perspective, because actually when people look at investments and they look at the stock market in particular on some of those investments, it's really interesting because the principles are the same.
Right.
They go across the board. Like when something has that high fluctuation, the example, let's say being Bitcoin, right? That has that high fluctuation. It's like, depending on when you get in, you could have the potential to have those really high returns. But
Right.
at the same time, like you're saying, if you're looking at being dependable upon it and trying to make a living off it, it's hard to live off of something that's going to fluctuate up and down and up and down. So even just using an example like that, it's interesting that your perspective just kind of naturally, grooves to the way that that is a healthy form of thinking about that.
I actually have an example for it. So I got a Fender bass guitar that was one of my first ones, and I think I got it for $1,700 or something.
Okay.
And when the time goes along, I do want to get rid of it. I want to get a different one, right? So I put that in the marketplace for probably 6 months, and I was okay. Just leave it there. If people want to buy it, well, that's fine. If they don't, that's fine. I was just left it for $1,600, so I'm not actually losing a lot of money on it.
Right.
But it didn't go for the longest time. But when the Christmas time hit, all of a sudden, it just one guy was I think I put it for $1,650. I was basically sticking with the price. I'm not putting it down.
Yeah.
Right? And then they want to buy it.
Wow.
But I was willing to wait, and it didn't really bother me. Okay, it's sitting there or something.
Right.
But it literally took that much amount of time, and I'm not worried about if it's gonna sell or not.
Right.
So.
And that's a really good point too, because a lot of times when people are investing as well, and they're dealing with that volatility, and they have something that may not have that value at that time, and let's say people don't see the value in it, and it's not going up. It's if they hold on to some of those investments that do have that higher volatility, and maybe it is in a dip.
Yeah.
It's at some point it will have that bounce effect, depending on what you're invested in.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's a really good perspective. Thanks so much for sharing. Is there any more thoughts on that, or was that? I think we covered it. Eh?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining us, and we're looking forward to see you in the next episode.